Etobicoke Lakeshore resident Russ Ford has spent the last 30 years as executive director of Lamp Community Health Center. Now he is in the running for a Toronto Council seat in Ward 6 South Etobicoke against the incumbent Mark Grimes. No relation to Toronto's current well-known mayor, Ford says he is running because the voice of the community is not being heard.
We need a councillor who actually cares about the community, who actually returns people's phone calls, actually has public meetings on issues, those kinds of things. And again, I think it goes back to the broader issue of what kind of a city do we want? Do we want a city where the government actually invests in services, or do we want a city where it's pretty much everybody for themselves?
On his platform, one of the main issues Ford highlights is the lack of public transportation in the area.
So no, I'm a fan of LRTs. I believe that we could electrify the GO lines here. We could have a stop at Browns Line, Kipling, Islington, Royal York, and Park Lawn, which would in effect be the equivalent of a subway, except we don't have to dig for it. It would be above ground, and we already have the rails there. The Premier's talked about electrification, John Tory's talked about electrification, but not in this area. So in a city like Toronto, we basically abandoned urban planning. It's whatever the developers want. And that has created huge problems, transit being one, the congestion every morning, but there's been no investment in those communities, no improvements in roads, no improvement in transit, childcare, library, you name it. There's been no investment. So that has really caused a real transit problem in this area. Transit has never been good in this area. We haven't had a good solution to the issue of transit in this area, but when you add in all those people, it's even worse. So I would say transit is the number one issue.
Ford named several other issues, including income disparity and public recreational programming. Sara Miller, Skedline.